Welcome in, everybody, to the Chris Hatcher Show. I'm Brad Radice alongside Chris Hatcher, the head football coach here at Samford University. Coach, 50-35, Western got the best of us, but let's start with a kind of a two-part question here. 21-20 at the half, you mentioned earlier this week, some of the best football you've seen so far from the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. I went in at halftime, and I told the guy, man, that's the best we played in all three phases.
Yeah.
And I say that because you got to put it in perspective in the context of how the game started. You know, we were in a 3-hour lightning delay before we ever took the field. Western Carolina started the season as a top 25 team. They got their quarterback back, who is a phenomenal player. We had a forced turnover defensively. Offensively, we moved the ball up and down the field, finally scored some touchdowns, and our special teams was solid. So against a really good opponent, a tough environment to play, after sitting in a cramped up locker room for 3 hours, we played well.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure the second part of the question would be, what happened after halftime?
Well, the third quarter, and you've talked about this, when things maybe a bump in the road turns into a huge bump in the road, and the team's growing, trying to get over that, but it happens, and that was something you guys just couldn't overcome. It was 28-29 point third quarter.
Yeah, I felt very confident coming out at halftime.
Yeah.
But you know, they get a big return, and we get a personal foul, late hit out of bounds, so they start their first drive at the 50. Of course, they go down and score, and then fortunately we go down and score, and then we get our field goal, our extra point blocked. And then at that kind of point, you just started spiraling a little bit, and we're not mature enough or maybe mentally tough enough right now to pull ourselves out of that in a timely fashion.
Yes.
And then, of course, the fourth quarter, we settled down a little bit. We worked ourselves back in the game, cut it to a 2-score game late, but we just didn't have enough firepower to go with the type of day that their quarterback had. He was phenomenal.
Well, you know, you mentioned firepower. My gosh, 576 yards of offense for you guys. Take away Baylor, then you get to Citadel, another 500-yard game. The offense seems like it's starting to get a little momentum here.
I would agree with you. I think that our offensive staff's really done a good job of finding ways to move the ball. Quincy has been a lot more consistent in his play. He's protecting the ball well, not taking a lot of sacks. His mobility surely helps a lot because we did have some problems in the second half protecting for him. But I think we're on the upward trend. This week will be a big challenge because of the type of defense Furman plays. But, you know, leading up to this game, our defense has been the strong suit.
Yeah.
We need to try to find a way to put it all together this week.
Sure. And talk about Quincy for a second. Calvin Jones steps up, 100-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, a return for him in a big fashion. Congrats to him, to Western. I imagine, and you know this as a quarterback, the more weapons and options you can trust in, I imagine just opens up things.
Oh, absolutely it does. Brad, you know, you take Jaden Gibson had another big night.
Yeah.
Calvin Jones, of course, it was great to see him go in there and have the day. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's a pretty phenomenal day for a wide receiver. Preston Bird's been playing well. Teddy Davenport, Nick Creighton, Nick Bookman, a freshman, Torrey Ward, another freshman, Sam Pickett, another freshman. I think every position in the 2 deep all had a catch. And so I thought we moved the ball around well. It's all about touches, spreading the wealth. But I think Quincy's starting to kind of get a feel with these guys. We hit a lot of guys on the run, which is something that plagued us early in the year, which led to more explosive plays on the offensive side of the ball. And then C.J. Evans did a nice job of catching out of the backfield, and then also had the big touchdown run there in the fourth quarter.
Let's talk about your defense. You know, Teron Dickens for Western, one of the better players in the SoCon. 582 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. My gosh, that reminded me of the old Houston Cougar run and shoot days. When a guy's on, he's on. I mean, I don't know if there's much you can do.
Well, he must have been saving them all since he couldn't play the first 3 games. You know, I've been in this league a long time, and that may have been one of the single greatest performances that I've ever seen.
Sure.
You know, we play zone, and he picks you apart, and we didn't get a good pass rush.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of time. Then when we tried to heat him up, He scrambled on out of there, made a good run, or threw it back across his body for a big play. Boy, it was if you were a Western fan, it had to be fun to watch, because just as a connoisseur of quarterbacks, guy's pretty good. I hope we don't play anybody as good as him the rest of the year.
You mentioned it. I think we're out there searching for that one complete game. And as the old adage goes, when you watch the tape, it's not as good as it ever seems, and it's not as bad as it seems. Is that kind of, we're just kind of in maybe, I don't want to say limbo, but we're just searching for that fourth-quarter game?
I think that's a good assessment. Yeah. If you came to practice, our guys work hard. We have a great attitude. You get asked all the time, how are you doing? So that means we must not be doing very well when people ask me that question. But, I show up with a positive attitude. Our players do. We're coaching, playing. If you came and watched us, you would not think that we were 0-4. And I think our guys feel that way. We had a season not too long ago where we started the season 1-3 with Devlin Hodges.
Great.
And we find ourselves playing the Citadel at their place to win the conference championship late in the year. So there's still a lot of football left to be played. We're getting better at certain areas. Other areas, we need to speed up the improvement. But again, I like our team. I really do. And I know that sounds funny, but these guys want to do good. They're disappointed in how the early part of the season's played out. Maybe we can take the positives from the Western game, put them all together for the Furman game.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Furman. They're on the horizon. It'll be family weekend here on campus. Always a packed house here at Samford for that. Tell us about Furman. I know you and the coach have had a long-standing relationship. They're a team that doesn't beat themselves.
Very well coached, and I say that with utmost respect. Coach Hendricks does a phenomenal job. Their offense and defensive staffs, I've played them many a times, throughout the years. Unlike us, they do not beat themselves, and then we help other teams beat us at times, and we got to get out of that. But they're gonna play extremely hard. They're gonna always be in the right place, and they've won a lot of close games this year. So. They know how to win. We got to learn how to win. Hopefully we'll have another big crowd. Family weekend, along with homecoming, traditionally are the most festive atmospheres on a Samford Saturday during football season. And we need that crowd to be there, maybe give us that spark we're looking for to come out with our first win of the season.
Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
It's going to be an exciting atmosphere on campus at Pete Hanna Stadium. Furman's in town for family weekend, a 2:30 kickoff. 12:30 will be Bulldog Walk, and we'll break it all down for you next week right here on the Chris Hatcher Show.